Thank you for joining me for this edition of the Wild Sonnets, Poems Out Loud. Today I'll be reading two poems from the books that I've published over the past few years, and I'll be reading a new poem that will be included in the book that's going to be published this summer, and that is the Wild Sonnets, Volume 7. But to get things started, I'm going to start with a poem that appeared in the Wild Sonnets, Volume 2. And this poem is Wild Sonnet number 140. Wild Sonnet 140, here we go. What we long for will not deliver us, nor in the culling and the keep that measures now as none will ever seem as more. This moment and all that we are meant to labor in, the brunt and drumming of the hammer, the chisel's edge, is not privation, but daily privilege. And so into the twinned containment of my purposed and opposing hands, I take the doubled weight of continuance and content. Though the hours like water filter through the wicker and the weave of my folded fingers, I find to drink there is enough, even as the seconds sink. The next poem that I'll be reading comes from the Wild Sonnets, Volume 5. And this poem is Wild Sonnet number 458. In the mild and middle I have made my home, suspicious of what falling waited at the edge. Though canyons call to me and deserts cry, I let the grand and the expanse of sand go by. A little is enough to make a life, though broader passages have beckoned. When they came first, I bargained for the second. But the staccato of the clock is always counting at the rim, its notch and number feeling for the furthest it can go. Though monotony will have its song of centers, the spooling hours in their once and winding have in the rounding reckoned the gain of days, seen in the sudden of a second. And the third and final poem that I'll be reading actually is recently completed, and as I mentioned earlier, will be included in the next book, the Wild Sonnets Volume 7, which I will be releasing in August of 2024, so a couple of months away. This is Wild Sonnet number 669. How little the lariat of our thinking latches on to, as the rodeo of the reel bucks and bolts, angling out of rope and reach, however much we swing to nab it by the neck. My part in this, more dusty clown than cowboy, here in painted face and patched apparel, dodging the knock and nudge of bull and barrel. But I would rather watch the sleek and sweating horses in the field run free, as in the August wind the tall Montana grass applauds. I would rather see the gathered bison grazing while the cool shadows of the passing clouds sweep over. I would rather muse on my own failings without arena, ridicule, or rusty iron railings. And those are my three wild sonnets for this video reading. I will be putting information on both the two books that are represented in the captions below. So if you're interested, those books are for sale. And I also have a special deal listed as well for the download of all 6 Wild Sonnet books. You'll find information for that there as well. So, finishing my little promotional spiel, I just want to thank you again for listening to my work and taking a few moments for the Wild Sonnets. I will see you again with another video reading. Until then, stay well and stay wild. Thanks.